Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Did he do it? Did he not? Did he on top? I told you that we don't stop. Now, what's good? What's good? I see y'all. Now, as Tenny is going through it with this HSI witness from the government, we will go to what continues there. But everybody acting like it's shock and awe about the defense's decisions. I thought for sure they would just call them back in there, but after what the prosecution did, I'm just like, wow, there's no need. Really, there appears to be no need to. Hit the like button coming through the door, please. We go off the transcript, so don't trip. Thank you. You're far too kind. Now, gotta take you back to the classics. Well, when you've been incarcerated for something you didn't do, meaning that you've been incarcerated all this time for a crime you shouldn't even be charged with. That's one. Two, if everybody really truly knew the situation, they would not even be speaking to you, because it doesn't even make sense for anyone to be having these thoughts nor conversations about putting you in jail because they're mad they can't charge you for domestic and assault. All of these people have been suing him for money. Don Richards suing him for money. This woman that came there and completely lied, suing him for money. Almost everybody they brought out there is suing him for money or using him for some type of financial gain. I'm serious. So now, all of these people who have been using Sean Diddy Combs as their personal piggy bank, taking care of them, is now supposed to be credible people that we're supposed to believe. The prosecution, who has on purpose manipulated information, edited text messages, We've heard this Brianna woman coming in and lie about Diddy holding her over a banister and bringing her back in. Exactly. Now, as we get ready to go over this, exactly. I just want y'all to be clear as to what we're doing. When that drug mule was supposed to be their big guy, I mean, Law and Crime made a big deal about the drug guy before he even did a damn thing, right? And he was up there for what, 10 minutes? He was the star. He was the one that's gonna break the case. Now, not proving anything in this case is remote, right? But let's stay focused. As they submitted overnight, they think it's relevant. Cassie texts to Diddy Combs, right? This is before the jury comes in. Everybody's having a talk. Diddy's lawyer submitted some things overnight about what she wanted to do. And then the government, AUSA Johnson, comes in and says, these were acts with Mr. Combs in his office. They're simply not relevant. So the judge sides with the government again, saying that the U.S. objection is sustained. So the judge said, here, Mr. Combs is inquiring into what Miss Victoria was going to do. And she replied, be your little freak. And AUSA Johnson for the government said, Miss Ventura is asking Mr. Combs for an explicit photo of himself. So is it about her boyfriend? And the judge says here, I overrule the objection. So now he's like trying to be fair. Like, I gave them one and I gave you one. So we're fair. So Estevao, whatever, comes in and says, Miss Ventura writes she bought baby oil because she couldn't stop herself. She was buying baby oil on her own. And USA Johnson from the government saying, we don't dispute she wanted to have sex with her boyfriend. And the judge said the baby oil purpose seems like it's for a freak off. What's up, Black Sigma? He said special shout out to the podcast and soul and the conversations with Jay, who did the full analysis on the infamous tape from beginning to end without being flagged by YouTube. Yeah. Um, Sorry, I don't steal Sean G's content. Shouts out to Sean G, whoever you are here. I'm going off the transcripts. Okay, Inner City Press. Shout out to the Inner City Press, who's in the courtroom doing a great, magnificent job this entire trial. Now, These arguments were based on something Estevado submitted to the judge last night, but it wasn't in the docket. Exactly when Inner City Press did what they did, right? And the judge said they agreed that the baby oil purchase seemed like it was for a freak off. And he even had to say that. We can't say, now you want to call Diddy her boyfriend. They said, hey, they saw Mr. Combs drugs people to make them do freak offs. But here he cancels a freak off because she's feeling sick. They said there is no evidence the freak off was canceled. That's what the government said. She wanted to have sex with her boyfriend. The judge said, well, let's just hold off on it. And the government says, look, and this one, Mr. Combs asks her if she can freak off without taking drugs. She says yes. It's being offered for its truth. Is it hearsay? And the judge says, I overrule the objection. Here she says, I want my bank account to be right. We object. And the Diddy people said, hey, this is Miss Ventura demanding money. It's a command of sorts, not hearsay. And the judge says, how is it relevant? It goes to the financial motive. How is it relevant? It goes into the financial motive is what Diddy people saying. So in 2017, they sustained the objection to 1135 on hearsay and 403 on grounds. They said the last one, 1417, the government says it's about Miss Ventura decorating her hotel room and getting flowers on Valentine's Day. And Escobedo said this is a sex trafficking freak off as alleged by the government. This shows Miss Ventura setting it up as a surprise to Combs. And the judge said, no, I think this is hearsay. Now, the judge says he thinks that's hearsay. I'm sustaining that objection, but the defense can use her being presented with the layout of the hotel room, the flowers and the photos can come in with the messages with them. And they said, bring in the jury. Can we have a restroom break? So they go to the bathroom. So the arguments that they had over evidence in the beginning, people decide to weigh on that. And as they weighed on it, it became more and more of a growing problem. Some of you might be asking, what the hell are you talking about? What is this growing problem? Well, they said, the Combs defense says, Your Honor, our arguments took so long that the jurors' devices turned themselves off. They are high tech. All rise. They said, good morning. Pull up 1406 from December 24th, 21, Don and Cabral. Turn off attorney screens. And they said, well, we're going to watch some videos. Play from the beginning into 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So the device says low battery. So what does she say here? That they fixed the low battery problem. They said, she writes, that was so effing sexy. That's what the agent says as Tenny continues with the HSI individual. She comes right in and goes for the jugular. She comes right in and says, so what does she says here? I mean, Cassie. She writes, this is so effing sexy. Then she writes, I'm wet thinking about it. Hard eyes emojis. Now, right? Paul is in the chat, but your chart doesn't list slide messages with Jane. So now they've gone to Jane. Now listen to this. And I told you, Tenny is one of the best in the world at breaking down evidence. That's why Tenny is who you would get when you have a case that requires a lot of collection of evidence. And where they lack the prosecution and how they omit things that they think is irrelevant, no, it hurts their case. They say your chart doesn't list Caballer's message with Jane. C3328. Now it's December 21st, 2021. She reaches out to Caballer to say, Happy New Year, writes LMK. Let me know if you want to come tonight. What does Sly says? He says, I'm cooking for my family, but tomorrow for sure. That's not in your chart, is it? No. Under Italian, let's see DX 330, like 3050 or 3050. This is April 4th of 2022, Combs with Jane. You read Mr. Combs. And we got the messages here. It says, I have been having crazy fantasies about Leo. You and Leo. Not lying, these are the text messages. I've been having crazy fantasies about Leo. And Diddy writes, Adderall is the greatest, LOL. She writes to Diddy with a drooling face emoji. Then in the side, 1406, next is July 2022. You only reviewed what the government gave you, right? He says, right. Combs tells Paul to come over. Yes, yes. Here, Jane says, my place is free tonight. Then she writes, I got on my knees and thank God for the health of my child and your friendship. Then heart emojis, right? Right. I'll correct you. It's Van Nuys. And everybody laughs. So now they go to GX 103. It's between Jane and Paul. The government says, I don't memorize the exhibit numbers. So she says, so let's show it. Is it not on the public screen? This is a message between Mr. Paul, author, and Mr. Combs, who says the staff is leaving. And then Diddy's lawyer, Tenny, said this is the first mention of Anton, right? October 8th of 2022. Yes, he shows up. And these photos, E285, do you see the bracelet she's wearing? I do. And they look at the screen entirely, unclear. They don't know why. And Jane's right. Can you come to Turks? He said, well, what does he say? He says, yes, love, I have a passport, but not vaccination. She said, can you get it in Atlanta? A few days later, she asks about Miami. Jane writes, tonight was fun. What does he say? He says, had a great time with you, baby. Now, April 2023, Jane, Combs, and Paul. He says, hey, Jane, true name, I am available. And she asks about the 19th. Yes. Jane says, I'll reach out. How about Pete? Italy is available. What does Combs says? Okay, you find location, you in the mood. Jane says, didn't know you were unsatisfied. I stopped and got a couple more outfits. Jane writes, I know what you like, Daddy, at the London before you left for NYC. You did a film. You forgot it. You promised you wouldn't forget. The smirky face, devil face. I'm coming, Daddy. That video you sent me was hot. Sweat emoji. Let's get back to GX. Yeah, she's texting Diddy. Let's go back to GX 1406. May 19, 2023. Jane, Combs, Paul, and Sly. What does Combs write? He writes, is Chef still there? She says no, LOL. Pull up the text of the personal assistants. I don't know who. Mrs. Combs writes, for hotel, they want fruit. Outfits, shorts for him, size large, fruit and juices. She writes, are you hydrated? I'll be at one hotel, residential side. Hey, hun, had a great time. Do you see that? She says, yes. Here, James writes to Mr. Combs, I love you. Can't wait to see you with heart emojis. But now she writes, let's be positive. Remember how we turn it around at 1 star, right? Right. You got Chef. Jane says no. Jane says, you know I was trying for my chefy poo. And Diddy says, are you coming up to LA? How much would it be to compensate for missing Chef J? He responds, sorry, love. I could have did it with enough heads up. She could have did it if he had enough heads up. And then she says, Mr. Combs writes, hurry up. She's at the hotel and she is horny as hell. Needs help. LOL. Paul responds, LOL, right? Right. And Mr. Combs sends Paul an image. Does it look like Shaq? Yes. And the judge said, may we have a brief sidebar? So they go up there to discuss it. So now Shaq's in the mix. As Diddy got this freak off idea of Kobe, Shaq, and Jordan all having a freak off. Oh my God. Now that part he guilty on. Oh, well, yeah, that part he's going to be guilty on because, shoot, that's crazy. Yes, it's very nuts. Um, yeah, they came back from the sidebar and the judge said, we're going to take a break. The cross is gone longer than was projected yesterday. Will they get to the event? Will they get to the defense case today? Why are the public exhibit screens left off of the exhibit without Jane's name? And they said Sean Combs in a brown sweater is poring over documents with his lawyer. So Nicole Westmoreland then stands up and talks to Mr. Agnifino. They go back to 1406, right? And Diddy writes to Paul, security knows to let you in the back, right? And Diddy says, just say Pete, not Paul. Jane writes, just to tell you I love you. Listening to your music and making love with you. Partey, Rose. Whenever we are saying back to 1406, August 12, 2023, he writes, movie night was off the chain. She says, so we try something new tonight. He says, call it Italian. She's at one hotel room, good for drinks and light bites. Smiley faces, kissy faces, right? He says, baby, I'm stressed out. And she says, I'm back to mommy mode. And September 19, 2023, that corresponds to many chats they looked at yesterday. They pull up 1407, not one by one. They go to the page 14, go to page 48. And they just looked at highlights of a few things, right? That they don't think was in the chart. Diddy was headed to Atlanta. He writes, I can't even look. It would drive me crazy. James writes, muy caliente, with a sweaty face. That was different, all of it. Then they said, yes, this message says we had a great day. Jane writes, Daddy wants to see mommy be happy and be bad tonight. Right? Slide that D in me at the restaurant. No water. And when they put emoji, and he's like, right? Yes. And he said, that's what she said, right? He said, yes. She writes, I'm gonna blow your mind tonight. Can't wait to lick your nipples. And the agent says, right. So Jane says, send more emojis, drools. She writes, it's sexy here in the hotel. Yeah, we need to run to the freak store. Let's skip ahead to 55. She writes, I didn't have time to do my nails. And he says, I effing love it. Let's just quickly look at this in the Jane and Combs. They say, this is Jane and Combs, right? He says, correct. Line 913, September 30th. Jane writes, I love you, baby. Have a great show. This I won't repeat here. There's no location entries until February 8th, 2024. So Diddy, or what they say, Christina Corum asks Jonathan Perez, how does he look? You could put him in front of someone, but he just looked like a full bar. So I think he'll be falling asleep soon. Now, can we turn off the public screens? They said, here, have your flight records for Jane going to LA to Miami. 5 days before Diddy posts on IG video, right? They said, right. Now a phone call from Anton to Jane. 0 seconds. What does that mean? The clock starts at ringing. And they said, okay, we don't have a public screen on, so play the video. So you hear audio, beautiful day like this. There's some bass going on. And they said, this was June 2024, right? And he says, right. They said, okay, let's play more video. Oh, there's juror devices are not working. So they had to get them charged up. And they asked, okay, we got more charged up devices. So they hear the music and then they play the entire video. Now in this one, they jump ahead to 7 to 8 minutes. Now, minute 19. And she says, almost done. Please stop it here. Do you see the message from Jane? I have the best memories. I have just a few to asking about 1409, but bring up 1408. Do you see the account transfer of $22,000? He says yes. In 1409, it was Jane Fuentes Transportation. Do you see that it has $151.99 for Jane, true name, and Cabral Williams? It's hard for me to see the lines. Can you move the cursor up? So the public screen is still off. He says $324.50 and $760.25. And he says, still seated at his right, who then whispers in Agnafino's ear? He said, let's go to page 96. Sean Combs' personal bank account records, total due $74,000. There's an account transfer to the LLC, right? Yes. So right there, they've already pointed out and they said, Your Honor, can I have a moment? One more video and then we're done. They said the one that wasn't working this morning, turn off the attorney screens. And they said, you viewed the metadata, right? And the government said, which chart? He said, that's a great question. And so they played it. And they said, thank you, agent. Please go back to keeping New York safe. And then they came in with a redirect. Because what she did was expose the fact that all of the stuff they read, the government took out. They did not show this man. They did not show the government none of the things that Jane was saying that totally proved she was in on it, and they both were having freak offs together, and she was enjoying it, not being forced. So she gets mad. She jumps up. Briefly, I want to do a redirect. Did we just see Sean Combs paying for the travel of Sly Williams from Atlanta to Florida across state lines? And they said, objection. They said, do the charts represent every text message in this case? And he says, no. They said, let's pull up messages before this date. And they said, objection, beyond the scope. They said, Mrs. Guerrero did it, and the judge had a sidebar. So they go up there to the sidebar, they come back, and they said, in this time frame, do you see any messages between Jane and Mr. Combs that were sexual or affectionate in nature? He says, no. No further questions. So the judge said, do you rest? And the government said, subject to? And so the jurors took a break. And ASA, the jurors leave, the government said, we have essentially rested. We may only want to move to a few corrections. And then they asked Diddy's lawyer, his main lawyer, Mr. Agnafino, they said, are you ready to move? He said, we move under Rule 29. Interference is not enough. Interference is not enough. And they said on count one, Mr. Combs is entitled to a judgment of acquittal. The requirements of RICO has not been met. They have not shown the agreement to violate RICO, nor agreement to racketeering acts. I told you that. I told you that. The enterprise is more than a group of people. The enterprise purpose proposes here maps on racketeering acts, right? And Shapiro's laying out sex trafficking, etc. See the Boyle case. They say a structural feature of a RICO enterprise, a hub, and spoken, the rim. Here is a rimless hub. There is insignificant proof to establish this 20-year-old long conspiracy. Mr. Combs did not conspire with any other person. They say an inner circle of bodyguards, but they failed to show it. There's only thin proof they engaged in crimes. At most, these are personal qualities of drugs. They used a lot of Astroglide and baby oil and drank, maybe some drugs. Jonathan Perez said hotel nights were personal time with a female. Brendan Paul said hotel night, hotel for the night. David James said he saw a naked man in the hotel room with Cassie, but thought that wasn't part of his job. The sex with Cassie Ventura and Jane has involved third parties, but they were not booked by staff. It brought them closer to Combs. These are all facts. Jane said to Cabral Williams, don't want to intercept you. And in May, Jane said she had to wait for the assistants to clear out when Christina Coram and the guards learned of Mr. Combs' violence to Cassie Ventura. It's not racketeering. They did not help. There is no proof that Christina Coram knew or thought these women were being coerced. She did damage control. There is evidence that Mr. Combs was lying to her. KK is supposed to be the main co-conspirator, but she appears in March 26, 12 years in. There's no evidence. Right. There's no evidence between the breakup with Cassie in 2018 and the beginning with Jane in 2021. Even for a RICO conspiracy, they have to have a single agreement. It hasn't been done here. They are killing this. Dude, they are destroying. This is why the defense is not taking the stand. They've done nothing. The prosecution has talked in circles all day long, all night. This Diddy should be walking right now. This bullshit don't fit, so you gotta quit. Now, they said even if the court denied the Rule 29 motion, some should not go to the jury. Under the California law, the government had to show that the information was about to be given to law enforcement. Back in April, you found a lack of probable cause. Woo! Go ahead, Shapiro. Mr. Combs was seeking to avoid negative publicity for both himself and Mrs. Ventura. There was no police involvement. The guard who testified said Miss Ventura did not want to report it. Miss Ventura said the same thing, as did Kerry Morgan. Eddie Garcia said the money was for the video, nothing more. Miss Ventura appeared on FaceTime and said she had a movie coming out and did not want this video coming out. The NDA permitted Garcia to report to law enforcement. on obstruction charge, they have to show intimidation or threats to hinder or delay. There must be consciousness of wrongdoing. Here's the incident involving Mia and Jane. On Mia, there's no actus reus, meaning it didn't happen. This is about D-Rock trying to get Mia to speak with Diddy, but sounds like normal conversation until her radar went off. No threats were communicated. All D-Rock said was Puff wanted to talk with Mia. They wanted her to say something. Her reactions could not have been more foreseeable to D-Rock or Mr. Combs. She didn't even answer Mr. Combs. None of his calls later that day. D-Rock didn't bring up money. She did. She said she was out of dollars. D-Rock never acted on it. D-Rock said, if you don't want to, all good. The prosecutors characterized these as nice messages. There's no evidence D-Rock or Mr. Combs through Mia felt threatened. So this is not witness tampering. There would have to be proof Mr. Combs knew of a federal investigation at their time. There is none. With respect to Jane, they had November 19, 2023. No threats. Mr. Combs said, this is when I need you to be there for me. Mr. Combs was already paying Jane's rent. There was nothing in the call about it. This is not a corrupt persuasion. There's no federal nexus. Now that they want to argue 159.1, that would be a constructive amendment, as we say, all charges conference. Anyway, we think the statute is unconstitutional on forced labor. The statute was meant to enforce the 13th Amendment. It's only used for domestic workers. Here, lengthily or not, forced to work, squalid conditions. These are not bodied USA citizens perfectly capable of leaving. These are well-bodied people that could have left at any time when they wanted to leave. They did. What to most people who was afraid of losing their jobs with respect to Capricorn Clark, she continued to work to show she hadn't stolen it. Not being paid overtime is not forced labor. Capricorn Clark said Mr. Combs told her to get the F out of my house. She says that was crossing my boundaries. She got a higher paying job. She alleged wrongful termination, presumably because she wanted to stay. Then 50 Cent, with respect to Mia, she had a GPA. She got her later job with Madonna. So the elements are not met with them either. Like 50 Cent, Madonna, you know. Now on the kidnapping charge, there is insufficient evidence as to the three allegations. Even if you credit the U.S. witnesses, Capricorn Clark, and the lie detector test, Uncle Paulie took her to a building. This does not satisfy New York law. Mr. Combs didn't know. She went willingly every day. The other one, Cassie, at the London hotel, she says she was taken there and held there for several days. California law has 4 elements not met here. On the arson of Kid Cudi's car, no evidence Mr. Combs was involved. On count 2, Mr. Combs would have known. I'll focus on the mens rea. It says, it's about he understood. He could have understand. Cassie said she did the freak offs to make Mr. Combs happy. She didn't communicate reluctance. Look at the text. They're right. Now, if you look at all this, there's no case. They're breaking it down to you. Why should we call a witness? Everybody they brought up here was the witness, and they did all the work. We don't even have to do nothing. There's nothing here. You have proven nothing in this case. Absolutely nothing. Hell, less than nothing. Shapiro is breaking down the entire case of the prosecution right now. This is ether. Hit the like button up for that, because this is ether. They said, okay, let's go to the Intercontinental. The fight happened after the night of sex, and there was no sex after the violence. The video seems to show that Mr. Combs, after he gets the cell phone, he just sits in a chair in the elevator lobby. So, no mens rea. As to Jane, she engaged in sex for economic benefit. For example, the house. Then there was only one incident of violence, which I'll get to. The fraud theory is deficient as a matter of law. Turk's trip ultimately happened. She wanted to go out to dinner. Okay. This would sweep in a lot of romantic partners. It has vagueness problems. Told you, gray area. People do this all the time. Thank you. It's not fraud. Immigrants being tricked into sex for green cards is different. He's a wealthy individual, but won't take her on a yacht. They never alleged sexual trafficking of Jane until they found out she was allegedly a circle incident of assault. She was circling an incident of assault. That is telling. This theory of fraud is incredibly weak. That fight at Jane's house in LA, that single act is not sufficient. There's no evidence that the escort came from outside of California. Escorts were paid for their time. Both witnesses said they were not prostitutes. Phillips and Hayes. They were called entertainers or escorts. Thank you, Your Honor. Boom! Boom! There's your case. There is your case. Why did the defense need to say anything else? I don't know. They just broke it down. He just ran all this to the judge and said, Judge, here it is. Now, you know this is all bullshit. They haven't proved one thing. Not one. They have not proved anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. They haven't proved nothing. Everything just got explained in legal terms. Acquitted. So after the government listened to them break down their whole case, here come the 5 white women to the judge. When he says, thank you, Your Honor. And they said, and then the judge says, government, y'all got something to say? There's more than enough evidence, Your Honor. Your Honor can reserve on that. I like the argument. I like a bathroom break. He said, I can reserve. The defendant should not be allocated. And Diddy's lawyer says, give me a moment. And the judge says, Mr. Combs, how you feeling? And Diddy speaks to the judge. I'm doing great. I just want to say thank you. You doing an excellent job. And the judge said, do you understand that whether to testify or not is up to you? Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. They said, is it your decision not to testify? Yeah, it's my decision. Solely my decision with my lawyers. Thank you. We should take this time to allow stipulations. He says yes. So Diddy spoke. So they go out, they come back, the jury comes back in, right? See, things are getting hot. Everything got hot. Hot to try. And it got so hot, they got no wiggle room. Or they stuck. They in the grease. So now, they say, we enter this evidence, this stipulation about devices provided to the government by Cassie Ventura, Mr. McLeod, DX 1402. They said, can you highlight row 5? So they go to row 5, and she says, I'm the luckiest woman in the world. I'll get all the pictures together this week. So many good ones. Meanwhile, Diddy is seated between Westmoreland and Brian Steele. Hands Westmoreland a pad. And he says, I owe you a good night. If you want to call someone, I need to treat my pop better. I promise I'll do better. If I don't, you could leave me, right? So they come in. These lawyers said, the local caller says, I owe you this, right? The local caller, Cassie, said, I love you. Thank you for always trying with me. I will be a woman, not a child. I'm leaving that in 2012. Now pull up 1402, row 66. February 14th to the 16th, 2017. A violet to Cassandra Ventura. Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. And they said, look, bring up another exhibit here. Diddy writes, you think you can freak off without getting high? Cassie says yes. Smiley face. Now, 1336R, blow it up, the first couple of bubbles. They said, Cassie writes, send me a dick pic. Mrs. Ventura writes, I just bought baby oil at the store, but because I couldn't help myself. Then I'm proud of us. We've been together for a long time. Baby, you do make me happy. I looked at my bracelet and it made me smile. I looked at my bracelet and it made me smile. Then they said, Cassie, right? You're my best friend. CC, and this message is from May 30th, 2017. And then Diddy's lawyer said, I will read this about Daniel Phillip. He was told to sit on the couch while Combs took his turn with Cassie. He felt jealous. October 24th of April to May 2025, Don Richards met with law enforcement. The notes did not reflect Mr. Combs telling her where he comes from, people who are missing. As to Hayes, he stated that he began to have feelings for Ventura. Right? As to Capricorn Clark, let's go through the notes from her first 11 to 13 interviews with law enforcement. And AUSA did not mention a call made near Scott Medusi's car in LA. Okay? And none of her, and going over the notes, right? She did not mention in 11 of the 13 interviews she did with law enforcement, with the government, those 5 white women, she did not mention a call made near Kid Cudi's car in LA. She didn't even mention that. The first of Mia's interviews did not indicate that Mr. Combs initiated sex with Mia. That Mia person did not initially say Mr. Combs told her, I could kill you at a photo shoot, and she keep claiming. Okay, 322.8 was not admitted. It was 3288. We may have more. The defense rests. And then the government says, the government does not intend to present a rebuttal case. Jurors, you do not need to come in tomorrow. You will come in Thursday. They said, all rise. Have the parties discussed logistics for Thursday? We should go to 5 p.m. both Thursday and Friday. They were agreed. They said, when will I have the charges back? When we have a moment. Yes. They said, well, let me withdraw an exhibit here so no one tries at another day to put a demonstration up unsealed. We do not expect that jurors will be able to begin deliberating until Monday. It's going to be a lot of arguments and then instructions. They said, well, that's fair. We'll submit the charge by 7:30 p.m. That works until 10 a.m. Judge, I'm calling an audible. Tomorrow it'll be noon, charge conference. And the government said, I hope we don't have to object during defensive submissions. We don't think it's appropriate for Mr. Agostino to bring up current events or use of U.S. resources. And Agostino says, fine. And the court is adjourned. And, oh, baby. Baby, oh, baby. Diddy has proven himself to be guilty of nothing. Only thing he's guilty of is stuff he ain't charged for. For all these idiots who keep trying to say, they've already proven that. They've already proven that. They've already proven RICO. They've already proven trafficking. They already did that. They paid money for state lines. They went over the state lines. He's a celebrity. You've indicted everybody. That's vagueness. You take your woman out somewhere, that's vagueness. You pay for them to go over the state lines. They're not prostitutes. They are escorts or entertainers. You see how that works? They admitted they were paid for sex. That's prostitution. No, it isn't. They were paid to entertain. See, there's legal documentations. None of the workers have stated that they were prostitutes. So there is no prostitution. Are you starting to get it now? Is it sinking in? There isn't a RICO. Like I told you, where's the profit? Where is the ring of people together doing this? And for what? Christina Coram is a co-conspirator, but she doesn't show up until March 12th of 2016. And you've used her name all through the trial. So if she was such the co-conspirator, why didn't you go and arrest her and make her one of your witnesses? Because you can't. You have no case. Hold up, is Diddy say what? They have not proven any of this stuff. Any of it. The defense know there's nothing here. There's nothing here. These are two people engaging in sexual acts. This government has been egregious. That's why I don't like them. Well, when you get into situations that are not usually ideal for you, like it don't help you to be in this situation, is what I'm trying to suggest to the rest of the world. Oh, of course not. Because you're looking at a situation that Diddy should have never been in. Diddy should have never been in the situation he was in. You got what, 14 to 15 different people who gave you a layout of what they thought they saw with a corporation. Then you got me, the anomaly. Right? You got me, the anomaly. Well, it's different times. And when you got different times, there's certain scenarios and situations that appear that supposedly is in your favor. But you never see it work, do you? Sean Diddy Combs, where is he guilty at? The prosecution just broke it down to you. The government hasn't proven RICO. They haven't proven trafficking. So you have no case. The Cassie videotape does not help you. Now, why doesn't it help you? The Cassie videotape doesn't help you because of the simple fact is that nothing happens after the fight. You realize that, right? Nothing happens after the fight. After the fight, neither one of them I'm serious. Nothing happens after the fight. Like they didn't go and have sex after the fight at the hotel or anything. Combs gets his phone or get the phone and he sits in a chair. He throws a vase. That's it. He sits in his chair. She left. So you can't say she was forced into a freak off. You see, it would work if he drug her back to the room and then she had to engage in sex after the fight. That's being forced into a freak off. Once this fight took place, nothing happened after that. No, I'm going off the evidence. You said when they came back. They never came back. He never drug her back to the room, even though the images are disturbing to watch. He does not drag her all the way back to the room. That's factual. And he didn't drag her by her hair like it was the Flintstones. When that was supposed to be some show of affection. No. You're right. Of course, Cassie and her friend Mia got together to cook this up. That's why both of their stories are lies. But Diddy just paid her anyway because he didn't want the bad publicity. And they're like, well, why did Diddy pay the money if he didn't do it? He's a celebrity, you idiot. He don't want the bad publicity, but now he got bad publicity. So he should be like, I'm getting my money back. Because look at what you did to my career. So I think the government was in on it too. The government said, all right, we'll go in and pounce on them, but we'll let you get your money first. What Diddy should have did was not pay her ass a goddamn dime. I know in hindsight he wished he did and just took it to trial. But he knew he wouldn't win in a court of law. because that was going to be a domestic thing. So he would rather settle that. And that was probably good legal advice from his lawyers, was just to settle it. Because, hey, what you going to do? In that situation, what you going to do, really? You have no outs. I mean it. There's no way out. They might figure it out one day. Who knows? But as of right now, no, it's what we call the knowing. And right now, people are caught into their own annoyance. Hey, where is my key? It's their own annoyance that's taking place here. I hate when my key is all over the place. Because there's so much a person could be doing that they're not doing. So when they laid all of this out and presented it and said, look, this is what we could have been doing, but we chose not to. And just for the sake of argument, here, we'll present this to the government. Bam! They threw it down like a gauntlet and said, here it is. So for the whole 29 days of court, they've just been spinning you in a circle, exhausting you, showing you all Diddy's sexual behavior, saying, ew, look at him. Isn't he disgusting? So, we see that constantly. No. They don't want us to be in this position. They had no questions for Cassie's mom because Cassie's mom is an isolated incident. That's only one thing. So they would only have, what, one question for her? Be real. That's why they said when it came to the mom, no questions. We have nothing to say to her. That's the way they look at it, is why would they be speaking to Cassie's mom? What is that going to do for them? Nothing. You're not scoring any points talking to Cassie's mom. Attacking someone's mother in defense when you don't need to. They still have to prove a case. So you keep it on the facts that they have to prove. It's not about what you say, it's about what you can prove. Now, if they could prove certain items, we wouldn't be in this situation, now would we? If they could prove any of the things that they were talking about, we wouldn't be in these situations. I mean, not one of them. This would be an open shut case. But once you saw a one-man RICO, that should have brought your antennas up right away. A one-man RICO? When do we start doing that? Because the majority of the people failed. See, if the majority of the people don't fail their quest, this doesn't happen. The government failed to prove. That was their case to lose or win. You see, Diddy is innocent until proven guilty. Even though he was sat in jail talking about witness tampering, that he never tampered with anybody. I don't know what anybody said. I've stopped listening to clowns a long time ago. When they joined this circus and they started doing the things they were doing, they were getting hits and views, I said, hey, I'm out. Because you ain't even talking about the case no more. Now you just curtailing things for views. And that don't sit right with me. It don't. Because when you have simple-minded acts from simple-minded people, you get simple-minded results. Hey, what's up? Now, How many times do one have to prove? Before they say, oh, so-and-so is wrong or so-and-so is right. The defense laid out their whole case to the judge is that this thing is an acquittal. Like, there's really nothing else to say here. I mean, literally, there's nothing left to prove. You think it's a joke? It isn't. I've seen it. It's so common. Like where we are, this stuff that you're talking about is so common to us. Like we've seen all of these acts come and go. We've seen people who've been guilty get off. But this is New York. So are they gonna let Diddy go because they really have nothing? And I believe this case was just to humiliate him. That they never really wanted to see him. They got to see him go to jail, stay in jail this long. I mean, the man has spent about 7 months in jail. So you got jail time out of him. You've humiliated him and destroyed him. If I was the defense, what would I be worried about? The only thing I would be worried about if I was the defense was the jury fooled enough? Was the jury stupid enough to be fooled by the defense? That's the only thing I'd be worried and concerned about. Did that actually happen? Were they actually stupid enough to be deceived? That'd be my only concern. Other than that, I wouldn't be concerned. When you have other people that can do certain acts that you can't do, this becomes a running joke, a running scenario that other people don't want to deal with. They messing with the ads. You said they messing with the ads, bro. We're not gonna get cried. If they find Diddy guilty, we know it's New York. So nobody's gonna cry. He will appeal and he'll win the appeal. Now, if he gets found guilty and then he appeals the decision and don't win the appeal, then I'll be like, whoa. Because it don't make sense. There's nothing here. There's no grounds to prove any of it. This should have been a mistrial. This should have been thrown out. This judge is just, he's a 2-year judge, right? He has no inexperience. I told you he has no balls. He doesn't have any footing in the game. They had another judge that could have done this. They had that judge removed, basically because he was black. I mean, it's like, come on. You had a juror removed who just happens to be a black man in the last week of the trial. You want that brother out of there. Because y'all sense that this brother is not finna go along with protocol. You come over here, you block up and you mess up my YouTube channel because you don't want people going out hearing or seeing anything about what I'm doing. Right? This is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Shoot, if my Patreon is hurting your wallet, boy, your wallet was never something that couldn't be hurt in the first place. Because these other dudes are stretching you. Joe Budden is charging fools extra $50 for this. And they don't have anything Patreon worthy on doggone Joe Budden podcast. It's just ridiculous. Yes, I just gotta run a few errands, you know, do what I do, then we back to it. So if Joe Budden is making $900K a month, that must be off all of his ventures together. And that's good for him if he's personally making that with the staff and all the people he has to pay. But the show is trash. What are they doing to the ads, NWA? What are they doing to the ads? Diddy is innocent of all charges. All charges. He's innocent. There is no trafficking. These people are not listed as prostitutes. Okay? They're listed as escorts and entertainers. I know. When everything went up, I kept the prices the same. Everybody else raised their prices on Patreon. I did not. I said I'm going to keep it the same. Oh yeah, we uploaded the Travis Scott video on Patreon. Why everybody's dissing Travis Scott. So okay, NWA. Because I don't even understand what's going on. Because I'm like, what are they doing? You said the ads keep freezing. That's something new. Right. Will he be found innocent? That is the key. Diddy is 100% innocent. There's no witnesses to call. There's no need to call any witnesses. There's nothing here that the prosecution has proven. I mean, under every statute of the law, this has been a runaround circus. I'm not even a lawyer and knew right away this was nothing. The way they were acting, they knew they had nothing. Why do you think they didn't even send, the government didn't even send their best to prosecute this case? They just wanted 5 white women. These are not the best. They let 5 white women go in here and prosecute this thing because it's nothing. Nobody else wanted this case. They were like, I don't want this case. This is nothing. This is not even a case. What are we doing here? I don't want to participate in this. This is some bullshit. Give it to them. They'll love it. 5 white women that want to defend women's rights. Yeah, go ahead. Woman victim, yeah, let them do it. Remember, they had a male prosecutor. They got rid of him and got this one lady here who her father was the director of the FBI, who was relieved of duty, let go. Diddy had the best legal team in the world. Not to say Jonathan Majors didn't have a good lawyer. You don't get a female lawyer who's Indian to represent you in a case against a white woman, and you black. You gonna need you a white Jewish woman to represent you in that case. Somebody or a white Jewish man who says, I'm gonna sit down with this, I know these people. Let me talk to them. It's nothing here, man. Why are we doing this to this guy? Why is he with this white girl? I know. You don't like the optics, but he's not gonna be with her anymore. They're not together. Still, he don't get to put his hands on her. He didn't. Look at the evidence. She went partying. She was thrown. He called the cops himself. I'm not gonna call the cops on himself. Look how big and strong he is. You know, so it was a terrible situation. Then quietly, they dismissed all the charges. Mm-hmm. Well, race plays a part in a lot of things. But what I like to believe is that when you know things are coming, you prepare for those said moments. I don't know what was going on in these scenarios, man, but we used to have a ball. I'm serious. We used to have a ball, man. We used to get up and down, do everything that we needed to do, handle business the way it needed to be handled. We didn't have all of this, this discord. Guys did their jobs. You know, they did what they were supposed to do in handling business. Now you just got clowns running around. Honestly, just clowns. So when people decide they're going to come back in town or do something that needs to be done, there's a different movement, a different feeling, a different vibe. It's a different party, different vibe, different everything. I don't know. You know, I can't speak for everybody, so I don't try to speak for everybody in turn. What I try to do is to avoid poor scenarios and stay out of the people trying to pour mouth you all the time. That's what you want to do. No. Look, we know as black men how the judicial system's gonna do us, right? Come on. It don't matter if you're in New York, Illinois, California, anywhere in the world, we know how the judicial system is gonna work. We saw what happened to LaShawn McDonald, or Laquan McDonald. We saw what happened to a lot of black men, Sean Bell, it don't even matter. We know how the police feels about black people. And we know how they treat white people. They try to go get the white people help. They try to assassinate the brothers. They had two people ODing. They both took some bad coke laced with fentanyl at my friend's bar. The black guy and the white guy. And the black guy took the line of coke, both of them fell out from the fentanyl. The one officer showed up, he had one EpiPen on him. He gave it to the white guy. By the time the ambulance got there with the other one, the black guy was already gone. They already said the black guy has been suffering like first. He was the one that had the symptoms first. I don't even know why the white guy would take it after. And he needed the pen right away. But he decided to give it to the white kid. White kid survived, black kid died. Mm-hmm. Yep. So we'll see what happens at the end of the day. So I'm out. I'ma holler at y'all later. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Welcome to HD IITV 78 Sports TV. Sports Talk with Jose Rodriguez holding it down. Blood boxing. Too raw for TV. And I'm out.